just got back from a trip. We had a domestic trip in Phoenix. For the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been involved with the United States Under-18 national team as an assistant coach under Mike Makovich. Coach Makovich has extensive experience coaching Major League Soccer for 3 MLS teams, and it's been a great experience to be a part of that group. Obviously, a lot of benefits. I get a chance to go and be on the field for a week straight, and we had 2 sessions a day. And there are a lot of other top coaches that come in that work with our group, and I've been able to steal some ideas from them in addition to working with Coach Makovich. It's a great experience, a lot of quality players, and certainly for recruitment it doesn't hurt as well. So I will continue with this group all the way through this cycle. We have another domestic trip in April, which is in Portland, and then in May we go to Lisbon, Portugal, and then we'll finish up the summer going to Northern Ireland end of July. So we'll have an international tournament there, and that'll finish up the cycle with this group. Well, I've always felt that the spring is a very important time. We try to approach this time of year not as an off season, but a preseason. I think the harder you work to kind of put your team together and to develop a personality and an identity. With the seniors gone, obviously we lost 2 seniors, and obviously we lost 5 underclassmen to the pros, so 7 guys total. This is a new group, and we're fortunate to have 5 guys in early this spring. We've been training every day. We just started our 20 hours last week, so we've been now at it every day, and we're making good progress. But in order to really grow and measure yourself, you have to play games, and we're fortunate we have 5 dates, but then we're also going overseas, so we get another 3 games there, so we'll have eight times to play together, and we'll get a good sense of where we're at. And we've got some very difficult games this spring. We play Maryland at home. Obviously, they've been one of the best teams in the country over the last, several years. We went to them last year. They're coming to us this year. So that'll give us a realistic measurement of where we're at. We also go to a couple showcases. We always go to play at the Mid-Michigan Bucks. They put on a showcase there. We play against Michigan and Oakland in some shortened games there. In their Ultimate Soccer Arena, which is an indoor arena. That will be always a good weekend. And then we go to do a showcase with the Athletes in Action. We play 3 shortened games on that day. I believe they're 50-minute games. And we play Wright State, Notre Dame, and Cincinnati, so a lot of quality there in those opponents. And then we finish up with 2 home games against Xavier, who were their conference champions, and Valparaiso, who was a very good team last year. So, good mix of teams and levels and different styles. And by the end of spring, I think we'll have a good idea of kind of where we're at. And we may fall short in some areas, but the key is we need to know those things now so that we can have a better sense of what our personnel looks like, what our system looks like, and going into summer, we want to have a strong foundation. That's a big part of what we're doing right now, and in the off season we've done I think a good job in the last several years of really figuring that out, experimenting, tinkering with, like I said, we got new personnel, and I've always felt that the players dictate the system, not the system dictate the players. So there are subtle tweaks to what we do within our shape. We like the 4-4-2. We prefer that for a number of reasons. A part of that is the style that we play. We feel that gives us the best formation to play the style that we want. But the main reason we like the 4-4-2 is there's a lot of flexibility, tactical flexibility within that shape, and mostly in the 4 midfielders. We can align the midfield a lot of different ways. We can play them in a diamond. We can play them in a box. We can play kind of a asymmetrical 4-4-2 where we have 3 and then 1 on one wide midfielder that comes in and depending on which outside back bombs forward. we can play a lot of different ways in there, and we're real big on hybrid, shapes, and we're not going to force guys or box guys into rigid roles that aren't going to fit them. A system is not so much about the numbers, but it's more about the roles and the responsibilities that the players have, and we want the system to bring the players' talents to life. And the key is our guys will always know what they need to do when we attack, what are our playing patterns, the movements, the combinations when we're attacking, and also defensively. They'll always know what they're supposed to be doing in terms of how they shift and step and move and defend in our block. But our style of play will always be the same. From year to year, the system might vary depending on the personnel, but it's, for the most part, always going to be a 4-4-2 with 2 strikers, 4 backs. Obviously, we like to get our outside backs forward. Sometimes 1, sometimes 2, depending on the personnel that we have. But the 4 midfielders could adjust and move and rotate depending on the personnel. Well, that's certainly a big thing we've been working on. We lose 3 of our 4 backs. We've been fortunate the last several years to have that unit intact, and it's been a big reason why we've been so successful. So that's a big emphasis this preseason. We do have Chad back, which is huge. He's been kind of a beast for us at center back and one of the key guys there and holding things together along with Zarek. But we lost Kofi and Korb and Zarek. Those 3 guys are all pros and very good. So I think we've got several options. Michael Balogun has been playing in the right back. I think he's a very good player. We just need to get him kind of dialed in. And, he's played a little bit left back, a little bit right back. He's played a defensive mid. But he's an experienced player, and he's a senior. He's athletic. He's tough. And he's been doing very well. So we'll probably look to see him at one of the spots. We've also been playing Eric Stevenson at the left back, and he's capable of playing left or right. He played there last spring and did a nice job for us. So those 2 guys we feel will give us some good options there. We've got a new player coming in as well, DeAndre Yedlin, who is out of Seattle, and he's an attacking outside back. So we'll certainly look to see how he does, how he can acclimate, how quickly, and what he can bring to the table. And we have a young man, Kyle Culbertson, here as well, who's a left-sided guy who we've pushed in there at left back, given him some time. So we need to see these guys in games. So far, we've kind of been going with that group of guys that are here in the outside back position, but we got to see how they do in games, of course. Center back in the other spot, Matt DeGillis has been playing there with the guys that are here now. Matt's a very experienced player. He's a senior. He was a starter the entire year in 2008, and so we know he can do it, and we're very confident in him. We also have a young man coming, Brian Gallego, who was is the captain of the U18 national team, plays for the New York Red Bull, and he's a very talented player. So I think with that mix of options, guys that are here currently, guys that are coming in, I'm pretty confident that we'll be in pretty good shape there, even though we lost 3 pros. Well, again, seven starters gone. Those are big shoes to fill. But I think with the guys we have returning, and some of them haven't played a lot, but I know, as well as the guys here know, and the coaches know, that a lot of those guys have been very good players. They've just been behind some of the most talented players in college soccer, and they've been prepared for this moment, and I think they're ready to step in. So I think we'll have a handful of guys that will step in that are already here, and then of course we've got a very exciting recruiting class with 9 guys joining us, maybe more. We're still not done yet. We're going to be going overseas this spring to look for 1, maybe 2 more guys, and there's another player we haven't announced that's going to be transferring to us. So with the players here, with the players coming in, we feel like we're in pretty good shape, but again, we need to figure that out this spring, and that's why we're playing, the caliber opponents that we are. But, upperclassmen, some of the guys that have been here, Micah Balogun, I think he's going to play a good role. Ronaldo Brenes was a freshman last year. He got some time. We're very excited about him. Kind of look to maybe plug him in as one of the holding mids. He can also play in any of the three attacking mid spots. Martin Ontoveros is having a good spring. He played last year as well as a freshman, and he's a creative player, and he's doing well. Ben Spies wasn't a starter last year. He was in a few games, but he's been an off and on starter in his first couple years. I think he's a player who is at the level of some of the guys that left. He just needed this opportunity to now be the guy, and I think Ben will compete for time as a major contributor, as a starter, either up top where Darlington played, or underneath as in one of the attacking mid spots. Again, Matt DeGillis wasn't a starter the last couple years, but on most teams, top teams in the country, he would have been, and so he's at the level, and I think he'll provide some experience. And then Luke Holmes was a player that we recruited. He's didn't recruit, but he's a transfer coming from Notre Dame College, and he's a senior as well. So that was kind of what we were looking for. We can't plug in 7 freshmen losing 7 starters. That's not gonna, no matter how talented they are, that's not gonna give us the leadership and the maturity and the experience that we need. So a combination of guys that have been here will help defray the loss of 7 guys. Combination of a couple freshmen, a player like Will Trapp, for instance, who's another guy that can play in midfield, who's a freshman coming in, and he's a very talented player. He's with the U18s. So between him and some of the other freshmen, Gallego and Yedlin, and some of the other recruits who I haven't mentioned, who might be a surprise. Those guys, along with some of the transfers, and then some of the guys that have been here, we're hoping that we can be in good shape. We're not ready to just chalk up next year as a rebuilding year. We feel like we can continue to compete for national championships, even though we lost 7 goals. Now, it's not going to be easy. You're losing 7 guys. It's not going to be easy. But I think that we'll hopefully be there in the end, and it may be that it takes a little bit longer to come together. But with our recruits, with current players, and with some of the transfers, we're hoping we can be in good shape and competing to win a national championship again next year. Yeah, we have 2 transfers right now that we've announced, and that's Luke Holmes, and he's a special player. We feel like we've got a guy that's at the level of some of the top guys that we've had here that have moved on to the pros. Luke was at Notre Dame College for 3 years. He was the NAI National Player of the Year. He scored over 70 goals. Originally from England, has a lot of experience over there. Was with Manchester City's youth team, and then was on the cusp of making it over there, but didn't, and was here for 3 years at an NAI school, and we were able to have the opportunity to have him come over. Notre Dame College had a very good year. He was in the national championship game. They lost, but they're going from NAI to Division 3 or 2, I forget, and so they can't play in any championships next year, and so we know their coach and their assistant coach, and we have a great relationship with them, and they felt it would be beneficial for him to come over to us in his last year. And he's a guy that's going to score goals, he's going to create goals, and he can play up top where Darlington played, or underneath. So I think between him and Ben, possibly those 2 guys could be in those 2 spots. And but up top we've got other options. We've got Macaulay Tolo, who was our other Jamaican. He played last year, and he's really making progress. We have a Chilean striker, Diego Navarrete. So the cupboard's not bare, and a lot of times you're struggling to find attacking players. We're pretty stacked with attacking players. We just need to find the right mix, and we need to figure out which combination works the best. It may depend on the game and what we need because we have a lot of different types of players. But we feel like we have all the pieces. We just have to put the puzzle together. The other transfer, Kayvon, I always butcher his last name, but he's coming from Loyola, and he's a center back as well. And he's another guy that could compete for time. And then we have one more transfer who's going to be joining us. We can't comment on it, but it's already a done deal. He's got his release, and he's a very good player. He was player of the year freshman of the year in his conference, and has done very well. So again, I feel like we're in good shape with the personnel. That's what we wanted to do when we lost guys. We've been working hard to get those pieces, and we just have to put the pieces together in the right way, and that's our job.